In 2025, companies announced 1.17 million layoffs, the most since the pandemic. Amazon cut 14,000, Intel cut 24,000, UPS 20K. And we are only 2 months into 2026 with 865 people being laid off every day in tech alone. If you are still employed, this is your window to prepare. Here are 5 steps to take now before you need them. Number one, know before you go. Do this while you're still employed. Know your numbers. That's the number, the survival number. What do you need to pay your housing, to get food, to, if you're with a family, take care of your family? The absolute bare minimum, know what that number is. Calculate that I will survive number for the monthly income you got to generate to cover it. And now it's time, a good time to start getting rid of debt and get as lean as possible. I know it sounds like a lot, but this is a big situation. And if not now, when to start doing this? Because we don't want to wait till it happens. If you've got an opportunity, you've got a job right now, go ahead and start preparing. Now we're going to inventory those skill sets. And we're going to talk a little bit about the numbers again, but I want you to start thinking about your skill set, everything, not just your title, not just your resume. Write all of it down. Ask your friends, former colleagues, what they've called you for help with. Start thinking about that and inventory that. Another thing to think about doing and start right away is to document and save your work. I know a lot of people can't necessarily do that ethically, but if you're in a position to have your work, the things you work on, the projects you work on, make copies and save it, you're going to start to build a portfolio of that for yourself. All the good stuff, your presentations, your proposals, even the writing sample that you created and you're allowed to keep. Start gathering that stuff. You're building yourself a portfolio so you can start to have an idea of what you're capable of. And you're going to start building your visible expertise now. I started a business while I still had a job, and I was really in stealth mode because I felt like this is mine. I'm going to build it. I wasn't on socials for social sake. I was only on one platform where I knew my audience was hanging out, and I was on that platform for my business. I didn't even talk about that I had a job. I'm not saying that's the plan for you, but pick your platform and start engaging there now, because your goal is going to be to start having a presence if you don't have one now. And pick the platform that's going to be, the best one for your target audience. That was number one, know before you go. Number two, choose your income paths. Of course, it's going to be a bit of a journey when you start to figure out your skill set, what problems you solve, all the different things that are going to get you paid. And when I say problems that we're solving, that means side gigs, side jobs, everything that you want to do to build income, because that's that number that we need to know. Our goal is going to be getting to that number. Whether or not this job is here or there, our goal is to get to that number. How are we going to get to that number? Do we need to have 2 or 3 little side jobs on the side away from our job? Do we need to have a product that we sell? Do we need to have some service we offer? Whatever it is, now's the time to figure that out. But we start with that number because we need to know the number that we need to get to. That we start to think about our income path. And this might not be a decision you make overnight. It also may change later as you start to work on your idea, your income streams. You may change from, like, I'm going to give you a couple examples. Coaching, career leadership, life coaching. It's accessible and it needs a really good self-assessment on your part, but it's very easy to jump into as far as, and when I say easy, I mean the stats that are required, the skills that are required. Um, the other thing is training and facilitation. A lot of people that work in corporate, They already do a lot of these things. When you start to inventory your skill set, you're going to find out that you are capable of doing a lot of things. Absolutely. And when I say do inventory, it's going to be more than just your job skills. It's going to be your life skills. What they call soft skills is going to be the things you're capable of. You do project management at home with your family. You may volunteer. You may run teams or organizations in your free time. Count all of those skills because they're all going to come together to help you create an income stream. So back to choosing the income paths. Coaching, training, and facilitation. You can jump into that pretty easily. And it's a strong option if you lead workshops at work, you onboard teams, or you facilitate meetings currently. That's going to be something you can easily jump into. Online courses and digital products. We see that everywhere, but that has a longer runway to get successful with it and build the volume that you're going to need to get that income. You can start it, but it may take some time to build up. Writing, speaking, that can become income for you. Speaking in particular on other people's platforms, in front of other people's audiences, you build in some leads from that to sell your high ticket offers. And writing in particular, writing books, they can serve as credibility for your higher ticket offers. And back to freelance gigs, if you know how to do a lot of different types of skills, or you're really fantastic at one particular set of skills, you can offer them freelance. A lot of people do things on those platforms like Upwork and some other ways. Virtual assistants do really well when they network and connect with people on a specific area. There are lots of opportunities. I know we're getting hit over the head with all the things that AI can do, but there are quite a few people that may be overwhelmed by it and would love to work with someone that can help them maximize their use of it. And if those are your skills, you can jump right into that. That's your choosing your income path. Now, this focus today is really about absolutely creating income streams. And you can create the income streams or create a business that has the income streams. Either path you want to take, if it's just, doing different things separately, or if you want to actually build a business. And if you choose to build a business, you want to create a basic setup. Are you going to use a business structure like LLC, or are you going to be sole proprietor? It depends on what path you're taking. If this is just, you're going to be, and I'm not giving financial or official legal advice, but I am saying choose your business structure based on your path and your plan and what you really need to get accomplished right away. Because if you're just trying to create some income streams, this may not be necessary. You're trying to build a full business out of it. It may be something to consider. Figuring out the tools you're going to need to use. If the business is strictly online, there are only a few tools you'll need to get started to get leads, to market to them, and to get them to pay you. There's only a few tools, and most of them, there's lots of tools that are free. So you won't have to spend a bunch of money on doing the business operations side. Figuring out what tools you're going to need to get those clients, starting the basics for free. You're going to need a business workspace ecosystem like Google Workspace or Microsoft, either one of those setups, having some type of CRM, or you can start with a spreadsheet. However you want to track your leads is up to you. A way for people to pay you. They've got all these different tools. Stripe is an easy one. People recognize a couple of the other ones, but just something to get simple and get started really easily. So that was 3, creating your business setup. It can be basic. We don't need that elaborate website and all these other things. We need a landing page that sells your offer, and a way for them to pay it, and a way for them to reach into you. If you're going to be a coach or need to get on sales calls, we need a way for them to connect with you. A scheduler, a free calendar scheduler, and a way to get paid. You can start with just that. Number 4 is going to be getting those clients. Now, remember, we talked about inventorying our skills. Now, I didn't go deep on the part where you go and find the problem that you're going to solve, because as you start to inventory your skills, that's what the inventory is for. You're going to go find a problem that you can solve. You're going to find the audience that wants that problem solved. And that's where you're going to start to focus on getting your first clients. And the first clients almost always come from people who already know you, your warm network that already exists. They know the most about you. You just want to start building your credible, simple online presence and start to connect with your existing network for simple conversations. We're not doing the MLM path where you're hitting people over the head that you haven't talked to in 20 years. No, we're just doing simple conversations with people that you connect with and talk with all the time. Some for research to find out what people actually want. And part of it to, find out what problems they want and let them know what problems you're working on, that you've got this new project started. So you don't need a complicated, expensive website to set up for people, a clean single page site. I help so-and-so do so-and-so. 3 results you produce for that and a way to contact you. Super simple. We're not going over the top. The goal is to be able to make money as quickly as possible. So we want everything lean. Get one testimonial before you need testimonials. Offer your services to one trusted contact at a reduced rate or even free, with the promise that they're going to, in exchange, give you a detailed testimonial, not a, oh, she was great testimonial, a detailed with specifics, so you can really use that to promote yourself for the next, when you start to move forward. Narrow your niche as fast as possible. A lot of people that come to work with me, they're really general because you're trying to figure everything out. I'm a weight loss coach is too vague. I help women over 50 lose weight without exercise and keep it off. That gets attention. Focused positioning is always going to be your goal when it comes to figuring out. And I'm not saying that this is going to be easy, but it's possible to figure out from your skill sets. And we will have in the description box a webinar coming up where we're going to walk through that process where we take your skills. Everyone will be on the workshop and work together to get their skills out to figure out an offer from that. Next, you're going to price yourself correctly from the start. And I say that because it's a common mistake that we women go into things undercharging or underpricing. We don't have time for that right now. We don't even want to make that mistake. Go in, do the research, find out the problem, find out the desired outcome, and have your pricing based on that. You can do some research as well with what the market is already doing as well. So we've covered all of those. We've covered figuring out the numbers, know before you go. We need to know our number before anything else. We figured out choosing an income path. We talked about creating a basic setup for getting started, getting clients. And we talked about a simple plan to get your first clients. Now we're going to talk about something that's, with all of these being important, this is one that kind of slides under the radar. The mind over matter. Expect some time to process the loss. If you happen to be one of those unfortunate people that get laid off or, lose your job or, timed out or whatever, expect some time to process the loss. Even when you're actively ready to go yourself, America has this way of brainwashing us to believe that our title, our position, our work is our identity, which is tied to who we call ourselves and our paycheck. We have to move away from that. It's not serving us, and that's our job to move out of that because it only benefits the corporate. Building something new is going to take time, so we got to take some time to process that grief that we may be experiencing we take it personal. You take it personal when you get fired. You take it personal when you get laid off. You can't help but take it personal. The money aside. But building something new is definitely going to take some time. That's why I'm here suggesting we jump in right now while you have a position. Jump in now and start to figure out your income and your income streams now. Because it's going to take longer than most people expect. It really is. And that dip in your confidence The feelings of fear, that's all normal. All of this is normal. We all experience it. But the thing is to move past it. Once you know and expect it, you can move past it. Find a group of women that becomes your community because they're doing something similar, and they will understand your feelings. You can go there and communicate, vent, whatever you need to do. Find your group of women like that and start to think about redefining what success looks like for you. Success is not the same for everybody. If you have a job that you know pretty close is coming down the pipe that you're probably going to get laid off, the goal should be to replace as much income as you can quickly and build up your cushion. Success does not have to be like, oh, in a year I'm going to be making six figures. The goal is, what do you need to survive? What do you need to be comfortable? Because the first year is going to be about proving whatever the idea is that's sellable, getting some clients, and learning how to sell and keep this going consistently. That's what you're going to spend a lot of the first year, besides figuring out what it is you're going to offer. And give yourself a realistic timeline with a financial backstop attached, because we need to have some type of cushion, because feeling nervous and panic, we can't get anything done. And all of this is about not feeling in control. When we the idea of layoffs, the idea of losing our income, we feel immediately panic about not being in control of that. We can't really control most of these situations, but what we can control is taking some action to change that. What can I do to create other income streams? If I've only got the one and it happens to be a job, my job is to create some other income streams that can replace that one if they decide to act crazy with me. So I can control that. Even if it's something that's going to be really difficult for me, time consuming, I am in control of that piece. And that makes us feel a lot better, rather than kind of, sitting on the edge of our seat waiting for the hammer to drop. And I myself always feel better about a situation that I can take part in. I don't want to wait for somebody to do anything to me. And I don't think you do either. I think probably if you're here, you're wondering, what can I do? What skill sets do I have? Now is the time to inventory for that. Now is the time, because all of us, unless you've been living under a rock, you got some skills, especially us women of a certain age. We've been on the planet and around the world for a minute. We've got some skills. We've all got some talents. What is the thing that people come to you for? What does at work? What are they? Oh, you're the go-to person for that, or you do it quickly and easily. As we start to gather those skill sets, you're going to find some trends in there, especially when you start doing the research and you find that, hey, people need to get their household organized. Or, one thing I noticed recently, especially right after the pandemic, people were getting really creative with ways to make money. It made me think about my mother, my grandmother, my great-grandmother. They were back in the days where they were very limited on how much income they made at their regular job. They had multiple jobs, and then they would still, especially my great-grandmother, would still take in other people's laundry, or they had a roomer, or they made meals for people. Our job is to get extremely creative and figure out how we as individuals can make this work for us. Because we see the writing on the wall. They're laying off more people, and they're using it's AI is this and AI is that, or they just want to, cut the cost down. They want to do that. So, you may be on the chopping block, but what can you do about that? How can you use the skills you have to create some income streams? And there are some scary things that people have to consider, because I know all the situations are not the same. There's probably somebody going to watch this and think, oh, well, I'm I have only one income and I have to have this and I have to have that. We're going to have to think past it, because if we get laid off, we're still going to be in the same position. So how are we going to manage our health care? How are we going to manage our mortgage? How are we going to manage our housing? Are there some creative ways we can step into right now? The thing I think most about is one, cutting back your debt, removing it if you have any, looking at your bare expenses, not the extra stuff. What do you need to function? And looking at that, and if anything happens, you go to that as a default. And then what can you do? Because the goal is to create income to replace the bare minimum. If you can do extra, that's great, but that may require 2 or 3 different streams of income. Our goal is to not have to worry about if we get laid off. So how are we going to fix that? Creating some income streams. Are we going to be getting some gigs on the side? Are we going to be, doing the driver delivery thing? It's an option. But exploring all your skill sets will give you more options rather than just kind of off the top. And then your schedule may not, allow for you to leave your home or drive a car or whatever. So then you're really going to get creative with the skills that you can do. Internet allows us to do a lot. It gives us a lot of freedom and allows for a lot of opportunity. We have to look out for it and take it. So that is the path we're going to go. No one's coming to save us. We will have to save ourselves. So figuring out how to create income streams, that's the path to go. I'm going to answer a couple of questions now because I got some. How do you figure out what to offer and find clients? Well, that's a deeper conversation, but like I said, start with what you already know. This is not the time to go and take a course to learn some new skills. First of all, you want to sell some skills that you're already great at so you can easily solve the problem for people. So start with your inventory of what you currently do at your job, the skills you have anyway, especially if you've had a number of different types of jobs. You should have a whole, stash of skills. Break them all down. What problems do you solve? What are the things what projects were you in charge of? What was the end result of that project? You can even take a peek at some of your old evals and see what outcomes you were responsible for. Because when you start to go look for problems to solve, those things will pop up and you'll start to see, oh, there are people looking for, project managers. Oh, there are people that want people to help them organize whatever the skill set is. And maybe it's not a necessarily business skill set. It could be something that helps you be very organized with being a teacher or a student, a teacher or facilitate students in some type of way. It could be a number of things that anything is possible, but you do have to gather your skill sets so you can do that inventory. And the same thing with finding the clients. Start with the existing network, letting everyone know, hey, I've started this new project. I'd love to tell you a little bit about it. This is my audience, who I'm looking to solve this problem with. The people that know you will want to help you, and they'll also point you in the direction of people that are looking for your problem, looking for answers to the problem that you can solve. I got another question. What if you don't have time for side gigs? You don't have time to be laid off either. But if it comes, then you don't need to wait for it when it happens. Everything that's important to us, we find time for it. So do a 3-day audit for yourself. Write everything that you do in your life for 3 days. And I'm sure you will find some time in there to do something. Maybe you can't totally leave the house for 4 hours, but you will find some time in there that you can go research and find some side gigs to do. Everything that's important to us, it gets done. So prioritize. If this is important to you, you will find time for it. I think I got another question. If anyone here has a question, just pop in and give me your questions. I've got one. So, okay. Yeah, I got a question about a skill assessment. So, with a skill assessment, you could do a lot of these skill assessments that are online. They will help you. I mean, because sometimes people feel kind of stuck. For one thing, the things that you assume that the things that you do really well, you may be thinking, oh, well, everybody knows how to do that. That's not necessarily true. So maybe start with a skill assessment, these online tests that kind of help you figure out. And there's so many of them. There's personality tests, there's skill assessments. Some of the ones that they have for jobs are pretty good to tell you if you're, fit for this type of category of job. But just think about all the things that you've done in all the years that you've been working, as well as the things that you're really good at. I would say start with things that other people believe that you're good at. When I was stuck figuring out, well, what am I good at? The things I'm good at, everybody knows how to do. I started asking people in my family, friends that I have known for a while, and then people that I worked with. And I was really surprised by the answers. So I think you could start that there too. Start with the people you know, because the people you know, especially your family, will be able to say, oh, you're really good at organizing, events, or you're really good at, documenting and recording, detailed things. You're really very detail oriented or something like that. It would be something like that. Fred suggested expanding career pathways as a skill assessment. That's a good idea. Thank you, Fred. Um, yeah, so ask people what you're really, because people think about it at your jobs. What do people come to you for? There are a lot of people that they'll like, a big problem comes up, go find Sandra, go find, Kevin, go find it. She's really good at that. She can do that really quickly. What are the things that you do really quickly that are easy to you, and you do them really quickly? But mostly ask people what they think you're good at, because they will surprise you. I was pleasantly surprised with, gosh, they think I'm good at that. Oh, I thought everybody was. Because you will find out that people are not good at all these things, or they just don't enjoy doing them, and they will pay for somebody else to assist them or support them with that. I started my business as a virtual assistant supporting business owners. All of that skill came from me working in desk jobs in the government and in the military. I had acquired all these admin and software skills, and I had to figure out how I was going to use them to start a business. But I did start with asking people what they thought I was really good at. And they told me, I'm like, oh, okay, everybody's saying I'm good at that. Let me try and see if there's any, you know, audience for that. Is there a desire for that? Because you do want to find out if your how to package your skills so that they solve a marketable problem. And what I mean by that is you're going to go out to the audience, to your target audience, and find out what problems they care about, and see if you can turn any of those problems in using your skills into an offer. And we cover that on a upcoming webinar. We go through that. You could also go to some classes. I don't suggest that first unless you can access that for free. Like if you have a job that gives you a lot of access to education, but they have a lot of tools online where you can go learn how to do things for absolutely free, especially a lot of colleges as well. But the goal is to find out from any of these sources what your skills are based on you answering questions, because it may be easier for you to do that with prompts where someone's asking you questions and they compile your answers and say, hey, you're suited to do this, or you're really good at that. That could be very helpful, especially when you're not sure. So go searching for a assessment or some type of skills test could be a good start if you feel kind of overwhelmed by the idea of doing an inventory on your skills. Thank you for that, Fred. The other thing is you're going to figure out an offer for yourself aside from the gigs, because you can do the other things, like the delivery drivers or working part-time in different companies and, in the evenings or whatever. Whatever it takes, that's what you're going to do. Once you get your number, you're just going to see what can I do to get this number up. Because you do want to have some kind of emergency padding first. And if you have that, that's a good start. But now you're going to figure out how you're going to do these. What kind of work are you going to do to get this survive number that you need? Because your emergency savings, your stash is only going to last so far. But we want to have some kind of way to create consistent, steady income. So that's where we're coming up with these different gigs. Sure, at the start, it's going to be to build your pad, your 6 months to 12 months stash of expenses. And from there, what kind of income streams am I building? And for heaven's sake, please stay away from passive. There's not going to be anything passive going on while we're doing this. We have to actively go after this money. I just don't see, that's not something that we're going to be able to spend time on at the beginning. You may find some sources later, but right now this is about actively creating income streams to bring in the money that you need if you happen to get laid off, or just to prepare for any layoff. Thank you. I think we've got everything. We've covered all the points. Now, we did talk about, I know I said know before you go, knowing your number. Sometimes that number can feel very overwhelming, but when we break out a spreadsheet and see what bills absolutely are the bare minimum, non-negotiable, and I say bare minimum, but I mean non-negotiable numbers, and we take some of that other stuff off, that number may become much more manageable. And of course, everybody's situation is different. Everybody won't have debt. Everybody won't have, mortgages, or some people will have 2-income homes, or some people may have other different resources, but it's your resource, your situation is the one that you will, focus on. I'm just giving you general information about where to get started. Everyone's situation is going to be different, but this is a good start for any situation. And we can all just, say what won't work. But in my eyes, I think there's enough people in society telling us what not to do and what won't work. I think we should focus on what can work. How can we make this happen? What's possible for us? Rather than waiting for this hammer to drop, what can I do right now to get ready just in case, and go ahead and build my income streams up? And by the way, if you wanted a business or wanted other revenue streams, this is a good time to start on it. So I hope this was helpful. If you're interested in watching our webinar about figuring out how to create a business idea from your existing skills, I'll have the link inside of the description box, and that event is next Wednesday. So I hope this was helpful. I will stay on a little bit in case anybody has any questions, but have an amazing weekend and don't give up. We can do this.